Some love stories begin as if written in the stars, passionate, exciting, and filled with promise. But not all end with happily ever after. This is the story of Babis Anagnostopoulos and Carolyn Crouch, a couple who seemed to have it all. A young British woman and a charming Greek pilot living in the sun-drenched paradise of Athens. But the truth, it was anything but perfect. And on May 11th, 2021, their story ended in tragedy. They had met on the idyllic island of Alonissos in 2017. They were very happy. Caroline was just 15, a teenager brimming with life and dreams. Babis, 29, was already a successful helicopter pilot. Their love blossomed quickly, and by 2019 they were married. A year later, they welcomed their baby girl, Lydia, into the world. But what seemed like a picture-perfect life was about to unravel in the most horrifying way. Caroline, full of ambition and love for her young family, dreamed of a peaceful future, but behind closed doors, darkness was creeping in. What once was an idyllic life slowly became a tale of control, manipulation, and unspeakable tragedy. In just a matter of months, the joy they once shared would be replaced by sorrow and fear. Caroline, who had once been so full of promise, would soon be silenced. And the man she had trusted, the man she had loved, would become the central figure in a chilling mystery that still haunts everyone who knew them. Her tragic fate would set in motion a chain of events that would reveal secrets no one was prepared to face, secrets that would leave the island of Alonissos forever changed. It was a quiet night in Nera, a peaceful suburb of Athens. At 6 o'clock that morning, a call was made to the police. Babis Anagnostopoulos was panicked, claiming burglars had broken into his home, tied him up, and killed his wife, Caroline Crouch, in front of their infant daughter. The story was horrifying. Babis described how Caroline had fought back against the intruders, only to be strangled to death in cold blood. The burglars, he claimed, killed the family's dog and left its body hanging on the staircase, a brutal warning. The news spread like wildfire, shaking the country to its core. Nera, once a symbol of peace, became the epicenter of a tragedy that gripped the nation. A massive manhunt was launched to catch the intruders. Police combed through every piece of evidence, determined to bring justice for Caroline. But something didn't add up. As investigators pieced together the events of that night, inconsistencies in Babis' story began to emerge. The so-called intruders had left no trace, no fingerprints, no forced entry, nothing to suggest a break-in. The deeper they dug, the more suspicious the case became. Evidence began to suggest that this wasn't a random act of violence. This was something far more sinister, a crime so shocking, so calculated, that it would change everything people thought they knew about that night. For weeks, Babis played the grieving husband. At Caroline's funeral on the serene island of Alonissos, he held their infant daughter in his arms, a picture of heartbreak. To her mourning family, he seemed like the perfect partner, shattered by tragedy. But as the days passed, cracks began to appear in his story. It wasn't just the discrepancies in his account. It was the evidence that told a different story. Caroline's smartwatch revealed the shocking truth. It recorded her heart stopping at 4:11 a.m., hours before Babis claimed the burglars broke in. His phone also betrayed him. Data showed movement during the time he claimed he was bound and gagged, proving he was moving freely around the house. And then there was the crime scene itself. The knots binding Babis's hands were too loose, easily escapable. The CCTV cameras, which should have captured the intruders, had their memory card removed hours before the supposed break-in. Piece by piece, his carefully crafted story began to crumble. For 37 days, investigators painstakingly pieced together the puzzle. They scrutinized the timeline, re-examined every detail, and built an airtight case. Finally, armed with overwhelming evidence, they confronted Babis. Cornered and out of options, Babis confessed. The story he told was more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. According to Babis, it started as a fight. But in a moment of chilling brutality, he suffocated Caroline while their baby slept just feet away. His confession revealed this wasn't a crime of passion, it was calculated. After the murder, Babby spent hours crafting his cover-up. He tied himself up, loosened the knots just enough to free himself later, and removed the memory card from the security camera. To make the scene look even more brutal, he hanged their dog from the staircase, a horrifying detail meant to paint the burglars as ruthless criminals. It wasn't just murder, it was manipulation on a horrifying scale, a twisted plan to deceive the world and escape justice. In May 2022, Babis Anagnostopoulos faced justice for his cold and calculated crime. The court sentenced him to life in prison, a sentence that could never truly repair the damage he caused. His actions shocked not just his community, but an entire nation, leaving a trail of heartbreak and unanswered questions. Caroline was just 20 years old, a young woman full of dreams, aspirations, and love for her baby girl. She was more than a wife or a mother. She was a vibrant soul who cherished life. She adored animals, found beauty through the lens of her camera, and dreamed of traveling the world. But those dreams were tragically cut short by the very person she trusted most, the one who vowed to protect her. Her story is a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly a life can change, of how dangerous it can be when love turns into control and trust into betrayal. Caroline's legacy, however, isn't defined by her tragic end, but by the love she gave and the light she brought to those around her. This isn't just another story about a heinous crime. It's a stark warning of how appearances can deceive, how manipulation can be hidden behind a facade of love, and how trust, when misplaced, can have devastating consequences. If you or someone you know is living in fear, feeling trapped in an unsafe relationship, please don't stay silent. There is help, there is hope, and there is a way out. No one deserves to suffer in silence. Caroline's story is more than a tragedy. It's a call to action. It's a reminder that we must stand together, speak up, and support those who feel voiceless. Her life, though cut short, inspires us to fight for change and justice. Thank you for taking the time to listen. If this story touched your heart, please share it. Let's spread awareness and create a community where no one has to suffer alone. Don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories that need to be told. Stories that honor the victims and remind us all to stay vigilant, compassionate, and courageous.